Well, I have not talked to y'all in a long time. I have got to tell y'all about this place Kenan made me go to. For months, there was this restaurant, this Mediterranean restaurant, and it's not far from my house, but it's not in a good neighborhood. And we just saw the sign several times because it was by I don't remember what you call it, the pizza place. And I would never go because there was never anyone over there. It was in this awful place. And so then one day we look over there and it's changed. And there's this big banner up that's Bobby's Home Cookin' or Country Cookin' or something like that. Country Cookin'. Well, he has bugged the you know what out of me to go there. And one day finally he was like, I really want to go there. Let's go try it. So we drive up. And of course, I had to take all my jewelry off and lock it in the console because I was not getting out of the car in that part of town. I just was scared. And we go inside, and we're the only people in there. And we sit down, and we look around, and all the decorations from the Mediterranean restaurant are still up. Like there are framed pictures that look like they are advertisements for Persian rugs cut out of magazines on the wall, and there's some kind of Arabic writing and stuff on the wall. Anyway, this woman comes out, and she was real nice, and she says, well, here's your menus. They were on the table, and they were just like photocopied piece of paper with all the choices on there. And there were like 15 entrees you could choose from. You know, it was like baked chicken, chicken rice casserole, meatloaf, all these, country cooking entrees. And then you pick your vegetables, and you get, of course, you have to pick from the first 7 to get the special, which we had to get special. And you get 2 vegetables and a roll or cornbread. So we ordered, and we hear all this talking in the back, and Kenan's like, oh, you have to turn around and look. And I wasn't going to turn around and look, and he said, I think I just saw Bobby. Whoever, like he knew who it was. But I never turned around. And then it seemed like there were only 2 people in there. And she brought the food out, and actually it was really good. So and of course she apologized for the food. She would say, this doesn't look very good, as she brought it out. And then when we ordered, she said, I don't think you want the gravy. It's not real gravy, it's chicken stock. Like, she's not doing very good for the business. So anyway, all I could do was sit. I was facing outside, and the windows were filthy. There were fingerprints and handprints, and it was just nasty. And thank God I brought my hand sanitizer in. So that was a few weeks ago, and today he wanted to go back there, and I was just like, I did not want to go in that place. It just did not seem clean. And he said, well, you said the food was good. And I said, I know it was, but I just don't know. And so, anyway, long story short, ended up going to Popeye, stood in line, got to the front line. Their ceiling was leaking. There were buckets everywhere. And I got up there, and the only dipping sauce they had for their tenders was buffalo sauce. And I was like, how do you run out of 5 different kinds of sauce? And we just left. And we went back to Bobby's. So we walk in, and of course we're the only ones there. Again, I don't think anyone's been there but us. And we sat there, and no one came out. There was like no one in there. I started to think they had been robbed. Of course, I had to lock my jewelry back in the car in the console and before we went in. Anyway, we sat there, and Kenny got up and opened the door again and tried to make some noise. And finally that woman came out, and we ordered the same thing we had last time. And so we're sitting there waiting, and she brought our food, and then I heard these people talking, and he said, he's back out here, Bobby. And he walked out to the front and looked over there and said hi, and he had this, like, when someone tries to dye their hair blonde and it turns out orange, and it was not a natural color, and he was probably 65 or more years old, and he had slicked it down, greased it down on top of that. And he just walked outside and stood there for a while and walked back in, and I thought that was strange. And then Kenan said, Because I'm scared of, I'm thinking we are in the hood and I don't know these people and it's this country cooking place and here we are. And Ken said, "Oh my God, there's a HRC flag up there on the counter." And that is the human rights campaign, for marriage equality. And so, I'm thinking, So then I hear this woman come out and she's talking to to the waitress. I can hear them, they're behind me. And Kennan's sitting there watching and just grinning. He said, "You have to turn around, but not now." Well, that makes you want to look. So I just turned around, and the cook, apparently, because he had on the little apron and everything, it looked like what are those, sumo wrestler, big, bald, with a beard. It was a guy. He sounded just like a woman, and he was standing there talking. And so I start listening, and we're sitting there eating, and he is the cook, and he is talking about his pet rats and how they just run up his arms, and how his cousin has them, and she has big frizzy hair, and they like to sleep in her hair and play around in her hair in bed with her, and they talk about how they clean themselves like cat. And I'm sitting here trying to eat. Oh my God, my thing's falling. And I had to quit eating. I could not eat another bite. He is talking about his pet rats, and he's the chef. So anyway, they brought, Kenneth had ordered some, of course he orders dessert with every meal, and they brought out this chocolate pie, and she, of course, was apologizing. She said, "I don't know what happened to the top of this. I guess it's the humidity or something," but it was all flat, and she was apologizing for the way the food looked. And so Kenan ate part of the pie, and we left. But it is an experience, and I have to say, the food is really good, but I don't know if they're going to make it because we're the only people I've ever seen in there. And if they are going to stand out there and talk about their pet rats, and they just cooked your food, I don't know. I don't know if I can go back, but Kenna wants to go back. Yeah, of course.